Welcome to Two of a Kind Sports, to this special Christmas Day special. I am Denise,
And Merry Christmas. I'm Denise.
and this week we're going to talk about the Washington Commanders versus the Dallas Cowboys on Christmas Day here at Northwest Stadium. Stay tuned for a full recap as we go into the weekly show. As we always do, a full recap. We're going to talk about what we noticed as far as the crowd participation, just the energy and the level of the team. But right now, Denise, let's go into week. Let's go into the first quarter. What are the things that you noticed in the first quarter? What Dallas did with them receiving the ball?
Okay, well, let me first start at the beginning because
Okay.
unlike you, who was
Uh-huh.
there live and in
Right.
living color,
Mm-hmm.
I was at home. I was in the comfort of my own home, okay, on Christmas Day, watching this game. And the game began on television with Kelly Clarkson singing her song, her Christmas song, Underneath the Tree. And that is my new Christmas favorite, in
Uh-huh.
addition to Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas. It's along those same lines. It's a nice, upbeat song. So I really enjoy seeing the beautiful, talented Kelly Clarkson sing Underneath the Tree. That was the mood setter for the Christmas game, since we spent Christmas with the NFL.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
our Commanders won the coin toss and they
Yes.
chose to defer. I
Were you
disagree. I
surprised?
disagree. I disagree with that. You know,
That's what I was going to ask
when
you. Were you surprised? I mean, I always know how you feel about when we defer the ball.
well, in some cases, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
Okay. Like when you know your defense is better
Mm-hmm.
and you want to set the tone, you want to show that your defense can shut the other team's offense down, that's fine. But we've already been beaten by the Cowboys 44-22 earlier this season.
Yeah, they doubled up
So,
on us.
and our defense is not the answer for the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
So for us to defer, I disagree with that because I think we should have put our offense on the field first to
Mm-hmm.
give us the opportunity to score first, to put Dallas in a position where they would be trailing us.
Okay.
But, Dan Quinn apparently doesn't take my advice.
Mm-hmm.
Dan, please make it your New Year's resolution for 2026 to take the advice you get here on Two of a Kind Sports. It could really help you out. And you have nothing to lose but losing. Okay? So we need to stop this losing. So we need to try doing things differently so we can get a different result. So here in the first quarter, I'm going to take
Mm-hmm.
us through it.
Right.
The Dallas Cowboys had possession and they had a very long drive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they
They
look
were
good. They look very good on their first drive. They look real crisp. So they came out there with a purpose. For
and it
sure.
was clear that they were going to use their ground game against us. Why? Because our defense can't stop anybody.
Right. Right.
Hello. This is why you don't defer. You put your offense out there.
Yeah.
But hey, again, Dan Quinn does not listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
So Dallas made it very clear that they want to use the ground game. Javonte Williams got carry after carry after carry after carry.
Mm-hmm.
CeeDee Lamb was incorporated in the game. He threw Dak Prescott was not having a good game. Okay. He was throwing incompletions. He wasn't accurate. He wasn't crisp.
Right.
The Cowboys, though, they did compensate for
Mm-hmm.
that. Okay. Because they really did stick with the running game. Dak did sprinkle, some passes in there. So when
Yeah.
he got incompletions, it really didn't matter because all he had to do was revert back to the ground game,
Mm-hmm.
back to Javonte Williams. And, they picked up yards and yards and yards. And, they didn't have a problem like we did converting on third and fourth.
Right. Yeah.
They did not have that problem. So even though this was a long drive, Brandon Aubrey kicked the extra point after Ferguson
Mm-hmm.
caught
That
the
was
ball in the
yeah.
end zone.
And that was a good. I don't know if you paid attention to that play. Actually, that was a great pass by Dak Prescott because he threw it over the top of Quan Martin. And actually, Ferguson, he tipped the ball with his one hand and caught it with the other hand. You know what I
He
mean?
juggled a bit.
Yeah,
He
he juggled.
juggled a
So
bit.
so he had good eye hand coordination, Denise, and he just showed that he was very focused, and that was a good catch.
Yeah.
That was actually to my side of the end zone where I was at the game.
Ah, you saw
So that was I was like, oh, and once again, he's another young guy for Dallas. So as we talk about with our young guys wanting to see them make plays, Ferguson is one of those young guys, and so that was a great catch. Quan was there, but it was just like I said, Dak just threw the right angle and right. He had the nice touch on it. I mean, it's like a little jump pass. Like when you're playing
Yes.
basketball when you're shooting. So Ferguson, that was a hell of a catch.
Well, and one thing I noticed too is the diversity here
Yeah.
because, okay, even though Dak Prescott went to Javonte Williams a lot
Uh huh.
to run the ball,
Oh yeah.
we had CeeDee Lamb incorporated in the plays. We had Malik Davis.
Yes.
We had George Pickens.
Mm-hmm.
So, there were several Dallas players who were utilized
Yes.
during this drive, which kind of shows you how long the drive was.
Yeah, they sustained a long drive. Our defense can.
Yes.
That's the one thing that's hurt this defense all this year. They cannot get any stops, and even when they seem to have stopped the defense, it's always something dumb, a dumb penalty. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I noticed that a lot in the game. It's like, and that's what we are. We are bend don't break type of defense, but sometimes I'm like, man, get them off the field. You know what I mean? So. I noticed in this first quarter, as we continue with this recap, that I noticed even on third and fourth downs, Dallas was going with it. They were like us; they had nothing to play for, so they were going for it. And actually, on all their fourth down conversions in this game, Denise, they were perfect. You know what I mean?
Yes,
But
yes, they were.
we couldn't convert. We couldn't convert. But one thing I did like that I did see early on in the game, finally our boy Cliff Kingsbury finally kind of listened to us a little bit. You know what I mean? He was running the ball. A little effective with Bill. You had Jeremy McNichols in, so a little sprinkle. But Bill, I can say in this game, Denise, finally back was Bill. I saw his vision. He was very patient, and he ran with power. You know what I mean? And it was funny because I saw this one highlight, and I'm sure you've seen it too. On the Netflix special, as soon as they popped in Clinton Portis, right?
Yes.
That's when Bill broke that nice long
72-yard touchdown.
Yeah,
Yes.
So I was proud for the young man. You know what I mean? This is his first time this season going over 100 yards. I believe maybe the second time. But to get the production we're getting from a 7th round draft pick, as we always say, we want to see how people are being developed. Well, I think, if you look at this year's draft class, and then it hasn't been too bright, but I think Bill has been one of those 2025, persons of watching it, from this team that kind of contributes with, So
I agree. I think Krosky Merritt has shown a lot of capabilities.
Yes.
And when he is properly utilized, when he's given the opportunity, he does produce. And
yes.
he had his, tough time during the season where he, had to be sat out, according to, the coaching staff. I didn't necessarily agree with that either. But,
sometimes that's a good thing.
It.
But sometimes that's a good thing because that makes you be more attentive to details, and that also pushes you. So one good thing it shows me, as you said, Denise, and I'm sorry to cut you off on that, but it shows that the man has determination and will. He don't let that little stuff just break him, like, start pouting and putting his head down. All he did was it just made him just want to work harder and harder. So I commend Bill for that. And as you've seen throughout the season, he was actually getting better and better. Even when he had games of when he was fumbling the ball, he still never seemed to get down of it. And that goes to the leadership that we, some of the guys in the locker room that also told him, hey, don't worry about it. You got another play. It's going to come back to you. So I'm happy that I can go into next season knowing that he could be one of the key contributors to this offensive team. And he has some speed, because like we said, we need more speed, offense, defense. So I'm happy for Bill, and I take my hat off. I mean, he had 2 touchdowns on the day, and what better day could have been on Christmas? You know what I'm saying, Denise? So jingle bells, you know what I mean? And he's definitely was Santa Claus. He was delivering those touchdowns. So I'm happy for Bill. So Bill, man, good game. I hope Now this gives you a momentum going into the Philly game this week, and even carrying on to the off season. That you just continue to keep getting better and better, and just keep adding other things to your arsenal.
Yeah, that's correct. But you got a little bit ahead of us. But
Yeah.
at this point, because Ferguson got that touchdown, it was Dallas 7, Washington 0.
Yeah.
But as we went on, when Washington got their possession, Deebo Samuel had a terrific, strong run where he knocked the Dallas Cowboys player's helmet off. And that was a really strong run. Yeah. It sent a signal. It sent a message. Okay.
Deebo, because he made up from what Mikey Sanders did. I don't know if you saw that, but Javonte Williams trucked Mikey Sanders still. He was on his back with his hands like that. You know what I mean? So I'm sure a lot of people seen that. So Deebo was on some get back. He was definitely on some get back.
Well, and because Deebo had such a strong run, excuse me, and because he was so determined to get those yards that he hit a guy and knocked his helmet off.
And drove him down the field.
I'm sorry?
I said, and drove him down the field too.
Yes. So I think that was a momentous play.
Yeah.
And I think that Cliff Kingsbury should have stayed with Deebo Samuel. I think they should have continued to give Deebo Samuel the ball until Dallas could figure out how to stop him. Because that play proved that in that moment, at that time, Dallas did not have an answer for Deebo Samuel.
Right.
Okay? Because there were like 2-3 guys on him, and he knocked one of their helmets off. So that's a powerful play.
Yeah, that set the tone, as we always say, tone setters.
Well, it didn't set the tone, and that's the problem, because it set a tone for Deebo Samuel, but then Deebo did not get the ball back on the next play. On the next play, they went back to Krosky Merritt, which is, that has its place. But when you have a player who makes an impact play, that is momentum. And you have to build on that momentum. You got to build on the momentum. So they didn't do that. And I was very disappointed, because I was like, why would you give Krosky Merritt the ball when Deebo made such a powerful play?
But Denise, why would you be disappointed? We know this is Cliff Kingsbury. We know he don't stick with the run. You know what I mean? So that's no surprise.
But Krosky Merritt was running. Bill was running. Yeah. So it's just you got to stick with what's working. And what I find with Cliff Kingsbury, which is why I'm not impressed with him as our offensive coordinator. And I know he's got his certain strengths, because our team does, as you pointed out, and I'm not going to forget it. You pointed out that it's, in spite of all of our problems, injuries, bad defense, and thus and so, he still finds a way for this offense to get like 20 plus points in a lot of games. And in the NFL, that is enough to win some games if your defense plays complementary football. So I'm giving you your credit, okay? Merry Christmas. I'm giving you your credit. Okay.
Thank you.
But what I don't like about Cliff Kingsbury is that when something seems to start working for a particular player,
he gets away from it.
He switches up from that. He goes away from that. But then when nothing's working, he sticks with what does not work. When it doesn't work, he just wants to stay with it and keep going and going. And when you keep repeating the same behavior, expecting a different result, that is the definition of insanity. So I need Cliff Kingsbury to get over his insanity, because it's not helping us to win. So when Deebo had that big play where he was running so strong and running so hard and running so powerfully to where he knocked the Cowboys helmet off, that was a time to stick with Deebo.
Yeah.
Let's see what Deebo can do. Let's see how far Deebo can go, and stay with him until the Cowboys show you that they can contain him. Now, that could have been the next play. It could have been 3 plays later. It could have been a touchdown later. We will not know, because Cliff had to switch up. So he gave the ball, that they were his play calling required Josh Johnson, our quarterback, our third string quarterback, to
Right.
hand off the ball to Krosky Merritt.
Mm-hmm.
And Bill was, he was getting
Had a
some
strong
yards.
run. He made a strong
However,
run.
Johnson did get sacked.
Yeah.
The Dallas Cowboys Clowney did sack
Jadeveon
Johnson.
Clowney had sacked him. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I will say this. I will say this, and I think everybody pretty much agrees. Even though Johnson was nobody's choice, okay, he was nobody's pick, and we had to kind of pull him out of almost nowhere, even though he's been throughout the league, for a long time. But he's nobody's pick. He did rather well. He did better than most of us thought he was going to do.
Definitely, Denise, because you know how I felt about him prior. I always said he was some trash, but he actually played very well, and he flew in some family, to this game.
Yes.
And what I did like, though, he was very efficient, and it just shows that if you have a few extra days to for preparation, that you can go out there and play well. So he played at a very high level, and what
he was much improved. He was much improved because his first showing was not a good one. Right. It didn't instill any confidence.
He was just thrown in. Right. So if he gets just thrown in like that,
Exactly. So there were mitigating circumstances. Yeah. So, he was just thrown into the game last game against the.
He gave us a chance to win this game. He definitely he gave us a chance. And to your credit, like you're saying, I did not expect any of that, but he actually made us. We sustained some drives and even some things that he does well. Like we did a lot of sprint outs, and then like he was getting the ball out to Debo and he was getting the ball out to Terry. I kind of like that, you know what I mean? So
yes, his distribution was good.
Absolutely, and even Ben Simmons in this game even got a few catches too. Yes. So we've been talking about player development. I mean, I'm kind of glad. And once again, I not to go too far before we get into recap, but a person that always makes plays, and I know a lot of Commander fans may agree with me. Treylon Burks, man, I'm highly impressed with him for the little time he's been here. He's been doing nothing but making plays. He feels like this thing, like, okay, when the ball is by me, I don't care if it's pass interference, I'm gonna catch this ball. We call it pass catch radius. I think he don't have no catch radius. I think anything that comes near him,
yes,
he gets it. You know what I mean?
He's pulling it down. Yeah,
I would love to see him on this team next year for sure, and be able to get some plays. Noah Brown, thank you, but no thank you. I think now he has that spot.
Goodbye.
Treylon Burks, I believe he has worked his way into this roster, and I believe whether that's Cliff Kingsbury being here next year or if we do have another coordinator or anything of that matter, he has to be involved in this offense because he gives you something different than the other receivers. He's a big body receiver, I just saw him on one of the Commanders content, and they were talking to him on the Next Man Up. That's what it was. Next Man Up. And, he's a big dude, you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, we don't have that. So, Terry and Debo, they like your 6-footers. And here you have a guy that's like 6'3", 6'4", you know what I mean? And he has a good catch rate. So Treylon Burks, man, I need to see some more of you next year for sure. Definitely.
I definitely want to see more of him. And the thing I like about Treylon Burks is he's willing to go above and beyond.
Absolutely.
That one-handed catch with a hand that had an injury to it lets us know that he is a no-limit soldier. He will do whatever it takes. He's a good guy to watch because he's shown us a willingness and he's shown us that he's got some capabilities. So definitely he should be part of our program for next season. And to your point about Senate, we want to see him. Like I don't understand why we haven't seen more of him because he's a playmaker as well. Senate is good.
Yeah, he's actually became a better blocker. But even now, when he has the opportunity, when you throw balls to him, and he has some target catches, he's showing you his athleticism. So why are we not seeing this? I don't understand. I understand a lot of coaches, Denise, love their vets. But Jesus, why don't we?
You're not winning with the vets, though. So what are you in love with? This is not about love, baby. We're losing. Okay, we're losing games. So we have not been able to string 2 consecutive wins together. So there is nothing here to fall in love with. And to your point about giving newbies a chance and giving
Mm-hmm.
them an opportunity, this was the game
Yeah. Yeah.
where we should
This
have
was.
trotted out everybody
Mm-hmm.
who hasn't had a chance, everybody who, especially who we're considering incorporating into our program for
Yeah.
next season. This should have been an audition type of game. This should have been like revisiting or extending the preseason, where everybody gets a chance to, do their audition to try to get on the team, and you're saving your starting lineup because you have to preserve them. That's what we should have been doing. We
Yeah.
should have been in preservation mode where we save our players because we have been racked and riddled with injuries this entire season.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want any players that we're going to depend on next season to get hurt, because this is the end of the season. If they get hurt now, we don't know how long their rehabilitation is going to take. We don't know how long it's going to take for them to recuperate and recover. So it could run them up into
Right.
the new season. And
Absolutely.
we don't want that. We want all of our guys to be back. We want them to be healthy. We want them to be strong. We want them to be operating at their highest capacity. We don't want them to come back kind of timid and mild because, they're worried about being cleared medically to play. They're worried about, contact. We don't need to carry that over. And the more we play our starters
Mm-hmm.
in this game and the next coming up against the Philadelphia Eagles again,
Mm-hmm.
we are unnecessarily putting our players at risk. This is the time to let everybody who's on our roster, that we, especially the ones we intend to use, the ones we think may have potential, the ones that we intend to incorporate into our program next season, we need to give those guys a chance, because most of those guys have not had a fair opportunity to show their capabilities. So I don't know what this coaching staff is really evaluating, because a real-time football game is going to give you the best and most accurate picture of a player's capabilities. It's not going to be practice. Allen Iverson said, what? Practice. Practice. We're talking about practice. Practice isn't going to give us a clearer picture, or the clearest picture of what we need to see from these players. So in this game, Dan Quinn should have been putting out, the McGee's, the people that we would like to see.
Jordan played. He played enough snaps. His presence was known in this game. It wasn't far as impactful tackles,
but it's too little, too late, because we've been crying about McGee all season long, and it's week number 17 out of week number 8 out of 18 weeks. And then here he gets to play, but see, still we are not getting a really good picture of what he's capable of. He's one of those guys that raised our eyebrows. He's one of those guys that got our attention, but we still didn't see enough of him.
Right.
So, like I said, he was out there. He needed to be out there with all the other guys we have not seen enough of. Sennett was out there, but Sennett should have been out there,
Yeah.
So we have talent that we need to see, that the coaches need to evaluate in a real game situation. And, Biotic was sacrificed.
When Tyler went down, that was pretty rough. But even for our backup center, he still came and played pretty well. Tyler went down in the first quarter. Quick thing note to you too, Denise. I just want to get your intake on. I mean, it took all year. We've been waiting for this from Johnny Newton. He was very, very impactful in this game. I believe he was recorded with 2.5 sacks, because one I think they split between him and Von Miller. When he was out there making plays, how did that raise your eyebrows and say, hey, where has this been at all year? Or do you think it's because he had more of an opportunity to make some plays?
It was a mixture of both. Because some of his sacks were because of blown coverages. Okay, let's be honest about that.
Well, no, two of them he got there pretty quick. It's like his first.
There were a couple. There were a couple of them that were blown coverages, because he had a few sacks. Okay, it wasn't like he had 2 sacks. Okay, he had a few, and a couple of them were blown coverages. But he did a great job, because even still, because there have been lots of blown coverages throughout this season, but our guys haven't been fast enough to get there. And what I liked about him is that he kept at it. He kept going,
Right.
and he gave Dak Prescott a real problem.
Yeah, he did. And you know,
Everybody knew.
and we talk about there's a lack of pass rush. That was very refreshing to actually see that. As a matter of fact, fun fact, I don't know if you knew that this defense ended the day with 6 sacks on the day on Dak Prescott,
Right.
which I was surprised. You know what I mean?
And most of them came from Jefferson.
Yeah, yeah, yep. So
Okay.
yep. So we that was
I
good to
mean,
see.
Johnny Newton.
Johnny
I'm
Newton,
sorry,
yeah,
Johnny
I know what
Newton.
you were saying. Johnny Newton,
Yeah.
yeah, Johnny Newton, and then I don't have my notes up in front of me right now, but number 66 defense. It was another guy. He was on the practice squad. He was making some plays. Then you had Martin. He was making a few plays.
Yes.
So it was collectively. This was probably the most scrappiest I've seen. Some
Yes.
unknowns. You know what I mean? That I was kind of saying, okay, well, where's this been at? Like the cornerback Hamilton. Everybody a couple weeks ago was like, who is this guy? So opportunities like that, like when these guys, why are we not seeing them? Especially when like we said before, if these veteran players, or let me say, not so much veteran, carryover players are not playing well, you might as well put in some young talent, see what you got, evaluate, because you don't know what you got until you do some type of evaluation. And like you said, Denise, it's more than just practice. The best evaluation is live bullets, live game reps, and that's how you actually evaluate people. So I want to, this season is over with. Thank God. I know a lot of you Commander fans feel just like Denise and myself. We are so ready for this season. I mean, for us that where we went at last year to now, in this short period of time, it's just like it's just so something. This is like, dang, how can we be 12-5 last year? Now here we are, we're 4-12, and I didn't have this. I understand injuries, and that's part of the game, Denise. But we do know it was way more than just injuries. It shows a lack of depth on this team. It shows a lack of talent, a lack of speed. When you see all these other top-notch teams that's in the league, you're seeing them but gain speed. As I said, a model of my defense, I would love to model ours after, is the Houston Texans. I speak of that every week because they're fast on all levels. Not only that, they're very young, they're athletic, and they get after that ball, And I'm the type of guy, I like dogs, you know what I mean? I like people, I don't like reactionary people. I like to be a go-getter. So, I hope next year, I don't know if that's going to be Cliff or if we're going to get another DC, but please bring that type of aggression to our defense, Denise. That's what I really want, you know what I mean? So, I believe that plays good when you have a style of defense like that. It plays good complementary football to your offense. But when your defense can't get off the field, it's not doing your offense no justice.
Exactly. That is true. That is true. I agree with your points there. In this first quarter, after Johnson got sacked by Clowney, he maintained his composure.
Oh yeah.
We were within field goal range, so Jake Moody, my guy, he kicked a 29-yard field goal. So that put us on the board. So we're now at Washington 3, Dallas Cowboys 7.
Yeah.
And then Dallas had another drive. And it was a long drive. This drive was longer than the first. I'm like, wait a minute. This is going on. Let me tell you, they took us from the first quarter into the second quarter with this drive alone. I was like, okay, they are eating up the clock like it is a delicious meal. Okay. The Cowboys are just tearing it up.
Right.
So in the end,
a good Christmas meal. That's how they was eating it up.
This was the holiday feast, okay, because this drive was long. But in the end, Dallas wound up getting a touchdown because Javonte Williams did a short 4-yard touchdown run, got into that end zone. So that put Dallas up 14 while we remained at 3 points. Thank you, courtesy of Jake Moody, our kicker. So on our next possession, we were forced to punt. I mean, it was so quick. It's not even worth me mentioning. So this is where our defense was forced to stay on the field because Dallas opened up with a long drive. And then their second drive was longer. So our defense is already being pushed to the limit. They're being drained. They're
Yeah, they
being
don't. They
depleted.
just they give up big plays at the wrong moments. You know what I mean? Those third downs and fourth down conversions. This defense cannot get the team off the field. You know, and that's disheartening because it's like you work so hard to get to this point that you got, like they say, you got to earn the right to be able to rush. Well,
Yes.
we don't earn the right to do nothing. You know, we can make one good play for us, a good run stop, and then next something that we, you know, is either a penalty or we actually giving up an explosive plays. This defense right here, even under Dan Quinn's tutelage, okay, it's not happening as much as it did under Joe Witt, but this team still gives up a lot of big plays.
Yep.
A lot of these teams, like when I watched George Pickens in this game, he sat down a lot in those soft zones. Okay, we are mostly zone team, but it's like it seems like we give up. I don't understand. For me, I don't understand why sometimes as a DB, even though you can be in a zone, why don't they change it up? Give some type of press man coverage. If you don't understand what press means, like when the wide receiver comes off the line of scrimmage, why sometimes I don't never see where our DBs are pressing, you know, knocking them off their route, because a lot of this
Right.
stuff is about timing. You know, every time you see our defensive backs, they're always 8 yards deep, so you don't even have to run that far up to the sticks to get the first
Yep.
down. So I just want to
Exactly.
see a more of aggressive style. You still could be a primary zone team, Denise, but you can also give some man-like coverages, and I think that's too will help your pass rush as well, even though we have lack
Yes.
thereof. But I would like to see that next year if we, you know, I'm speaking optimistically. We are going to address those issues. I believe one in the draft and one in free agency. But we need that. So, like I said, I don't care how good you are. If you have no pass rush, you're going to get exposed on that back end. So, I want to see some little things, some more stunts. I want to see that. I think we don't do enough. I think we just too, to
Yeah.
me, I think we're too generic in a lot of cases, especially on the offensive side. We don't have
Yeah.
enough motion or
Very
anything.
unimaginative.
Very right. You know, besides the
Yeah.
bubble screens on the offense with Cliff, there's no motion. There's lack of, like the one I saw it in one time in the game with Debo actually, you know, with a reverse. But that's, you know, the most that we get. There's pretty much no creativity from Cliff. So both sides of the ball need some creativity. That's my
Well, look, remember what your guy Joe Witt said.
point.
This defense ain't for everybody.
Everybody, right?
Well, it's for our opponents because
Yeah.
they deal with it very well. Okay, it
Right.
poses no problem for them.
Right.
And
Right.
speaking of which, Dallas got their next possession,
Mhm.
and they got a touchdown because Prescott threw to Turpin,
Yeah.
and Turpin ran it in for a touchdown. So Dallas was up.
That was an 82-yard bomb.
Yeah.
Javante Turpin just took off, and you know he kills us. We got a Santana Moss, a Cowboy killer. I'm starting to say he a commander killer because last year
Yeah.
when he had that punt return, he killed us. He looked like the human joystick out there. This year, same thing. You know what I mean? It's just like
Yep.
he he gives them a
Ron
spark.
Martin
I hate to
and
say.
Sanders still couldn't catch him.
No, he's
You
too
saw
fast
them.
for them.
You saw them trailing him,
Yeah.
but they were eating his dust right
It
on
was
into
like he
the
was
end
laughing
zone.
at it when he was running. You know how you laugh at
Yeah.
somebody like ha ha. It looked like he was laughing at him. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And but that's
They couldn't catch him. They
couldn't
had no
catch
answer for him. So that
Yeah.
put Dallas up 21 to Washington's 3 points.
Yeah.
And
I thought the game was going to get out of hand at that point, but it didn't.
well, exactly that, because this was not looking good,
Yeah,
you
it
know. And when Washington got the ball, that's when a hole opened up. A lane opened up, and Mr.
A freeway
Krusty
opened up for him. Not no
Yes.
lane, a freeway opened up.
a freeway, an expressway.
Yeah.
That's right. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. Bill is what they call him. He had a beautiful, powerful, impactful 72-yard run all the way into the end zone.
Took it
And
to the
it was
house.
great.
Took it to the house.
So you were there. You were
Yeah.
actually in the stadium. Tell us what that moment was like, because you saw it live. I was excited to see it on TV.
So, when I saw it, you know, because when it first happened, I was like, okay, I said, Bill about to take it to the house, because I kind of, you know how he has that like that little stutter step move.
Right.
Well, I saw the hole kind of open up. So as he was running, Northwest Stadium, you can hear everybody. It just started erupting. You know what I mean? Especially when he did get caught, because for a second I thought one of their defensive backs was going to catch him. But Bill has enough speed, so it shows that he has some breakaway
He's
speed.
got power.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
got power and breakaway speed. So
And speed.
um, I was so happy to see Bill, man. I mean, because Bill, like we said, Bill has taken his lumps throughout the season,
Yeah.
and just to see him be glorified in that type of way, not just one touchdown, but you had two very impactful touchdowns of the game. So
Yes.
that one right there stood out to me more because those type of plays like that, Denise, those are game changer plays. And you see how with him scoring that just changed the momentum of the game a little bit.
Yes.
It gave us hope, and it actually made the defense, kind of step it up a little bit. I ain't gonna give them too much, but they stepped up a little bit.
Well, you know what? The thing I liked about Bill's run was that it gave me the impression that he knew he could do it.
Yeah, he believed in himself. He's confident in himself. Sure.
Right. He wasn't surprised. It was like he wanted to have that opportunity to show his ability. Absolutely. And once the opportunity knocked, he was able to answer. So I really liked his confidence. I liked his whole comportment. I'm sorry.
And you want those type of players
during that play, because he ran it like he knew he could do it. Like, this is what I meant to do.
I'm made for this. This is me. I'm made for this type of moment. You know what I mean? Like you said,
and this is why we need to see more of it. So if our O-line can kind of do whatever it is they did to open things up and make it possible for him to find an opening to just go through it, that would be some wonderful football to see. Because normally, he gets kind of caught in traffic. He runs, like they like to make him run up the middle, and he runs right into traffic. But we see now that when there is an opening, when there is an opportunity, he could go all the way.
Right.
That 72-yarder was really, really impressive. So,
and let me say this too, Denise. A lot of people don't give Josh Conley Jr. enough credit. That was on that right side of his. Not to mention that Sam Cosmi was out for this game, so we had another lineman. So to see them, to see Josh Conley, I don't care what people said. I like that kind of what happened to him early in the year, that he had to go up against these demons. You know what I mean? Because those guys, they made him, and like we said, the best experience is game experience. You know what I mean? So now he's seen every type of look. And I've seen him he's a bright spot for that offensive line. And I see he can move some bodies because, Denise, he opened that joke up like a freeway.
Yes.
Bill just like, okay, you're going to give me this, I'm gone. You know what I mean? So I'm happy that I do see that our offensive line is probably one of our most strengths on our team, because we do have depth. And even when we have guys that come in as fill-ins, you really don't see no drop-off.
Right,
exactly. Why isn't the rest of the team like that,
Yeah.
So the offensive line, I like our offensive line. It can get a little better, of course, but I wouldn't say that has been a weak spot on this team.
That has not been. And in seasons past, it has been a weak spot. So this is an area that has actually been corrected in the favor of the Commanders. So I appreciate that, because the play of our O-line has been improved.
Yeah, they've been stellar. They've been stellar at times.
We could build on that.
Yeah.
And so with that touchdown from Krosky Merritt, Bill is what they call him, we got 10 points. So now it's 21.
Yep.
Washington 10. And we are still in the second quarter. So the Cowboys got the ball back, and when they got the ball, Aubrey, their kicker extraordinaire, because they have a good kicker. Aubrey is a good kicker now. He had a hiccup in this game.
Yeah, when he missed that one. Do you know, I was so surprised when he missed that one. I was like, that's unheard of.
For him, for Aubrey, it really is.
Yeah.
It really is unheard of. Yeah. But he did kick a 51-yarder. Okay, Aubrey.
It made it look easy. He made it look easy.
Because that's what he does. He's one of the best at it. Okay, this season he's one of the best. So yeah, he makes his kicks look very easy. But he put Dallas up 24, and it was Washington 10.
Yes.
So that's where we were at halftime. Dallas 24, Washington 10. So going into the third quarter, because we deferred, we started with let's see. Oh, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
We were forced to punt.
Yeah.
Moving right along. I thought I was going to get into something.
Nah.
Moving right along, we were forced to punt. So back to them boys, back to
Yeah.
the Cowboys. They were also forced to punt. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
But now, okay, so here we have Josh Johnson
Mm-hmm.
paired up with Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. Bill is
Mhm.
what they call him.
Mm-hmm.
And here we go again. Oh, this was the 72-yard run.
Right.
So
That was a 72-yard.
What was I going off of? Let's see.
It's okay. Listen,
Okay,
it's a
you know what? It
this-
wasn't the
this- this
72-yard
is a
run that
full
we were
game-
just
this is a full
talking
game recap,
that we
so
were
it don't
talking
even
about.
matter.
The first touchdown
Uh-huh.
to Prosky Merritt, he was handed off the ball.
Right.
He
Right.
was handed the ball and he ran it in. So this wasn't the 72. We were so excited about the 72-yard run. We just
Because that was
we
a
just had
highlight.
to
That was a
push
great
it up.
highlight.
So
Yeah.
this was the 72-yard run, okay,
Yeah.
after the half. So this is how we responded after the half. So we built that momentum, like you said, okay,
Mhm.
because we thought, things were kind of lost when we were down 21-3.
Yes.
But as you stated, we started making this comeback. We started putting points on the board, and Krosky Merritt was very instrumental in that. So yes, this is where he had a 72-yard run, and so that made it Dallas 24,
Mhm.
Washington 17. Okay, so when Dallas got the ball, because now the score is kind of close. Okay,
Yeah.
24-17.
It was a ball game. And you felt that too. Like
Yeah.
we were saying, at first it seemed like the game was going to get away, but when Bill had that 72-yard run,
Yes.
it kind of brought some life back into the stadium. Because I ain't gonna lie to you, at first, we were hearing, of course, you always gonna hear them Cowboy fans, them obnoxious type of people they are, maybe for lack of better words. But that kind of gave some spark into to the stadium and us as Commander fans. Like, okay, all right, we ain't gonna just lay down. We're gonna go in. We're gonna fight. If they're gonna beat us, they're gonna beat us. But we ain't gonna just lay down. So Bill started that off.
And to your point, okay, after that touchdown, okay, when it was Dallas's turn to get the ball, my main man, who everybody wants to retire, who they say he's too old, he's too slow, he's AARP ready, Bobby Wagner.
Bobby Wags, yeah.
Walter Payton, Man of the Year club winner for the Washington Commanders.
Yes.
Sacked Dak Prescott. He
Yes.
put him in the ground. Okay.
Yes.
Well, actually, he sacked him. He got that good sack on him, and then Dallas got a false start, which I was happy to see, because I complain about the black and white stripes all the time.
But you're not the only one. They've been terrible all year long.
Yes.
I mean, and it seemed like when you're a bad team, they're even worse.
They come down on you. But this game, Dallas was getting some calls on them too. So I did appreciate that part. So maybe that was our Christmas miracle, that the refs were kind of pretending to try to call it down the line. But I noticed that Dallas was getting they were actually getting their penalties called as well. So let's see, when they got the ball, the Cowboys kicked kicker Aubrey kicked a 52-yard field goal to make it Dallas 27 to our Washington 17.
Right.
So now we're at a 10-point deficit. Okay.
Right. Denise, real quick, while we're speaking of kickers, we would be a disservice to our show of Two of a Kind Sports if we did not talk about our Pro Bowler kicker and Tress Way. Congratulations to Tress Way. Hey, Tress is always, I've met Tress before too, Denise. He's a cool guy, down to earth, you know what I mean, like real laid back. But to see him as the longest tenure player on this team,
right?
I'm so happy for him. This is his third Pro Bowl selection.
The third time.
He definitely deserved it. So, from Two of a Kind Sports, Tress Way, shout out to you, man. We need more, because without him, if you looked at him a lot of times when he did have to punt, he flipped the field a lot for us.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So he's been. We
can't say enough good things about Tress Way and the precision with which he kicks, because he gives us great field position when he needs to kick it in a specific spot in a specific corner.
Absolutely.
Nobody does it better for us than Tress Way, and that has been proven year after year, season after season. And like you said, this is his not first, not second, but his third Pro Bowl. And he
3
is the starting punter.
Yeah,
Okay, he's not
right.
a backup. He's not
He's
a
not an
reserve.
alternate
He's
nothing. He's the starting
he's
punter.
starting for the NFC.
That's
So,
right.
so
That's right.
congratulations to Tress Way, our
Mhm.
punter extraordinaire. And let's see. So we got the ball again. Okay,
Mhm.
after Dallas got their field goal,
Okay.
and our guy, still my man Jake Moody.
Yeah.
Okay, he kicked a 23-yard
Not
field
Matt
goal.
Gay, right? Jake Moody, right? We because we know how you felt about Matt Gay, but you love some Jake
Look,
Moody.
I had to campaign hard to get rid of Matt Gay. Okay,
You
it
did.
was
You did.
week, season after season of me campaigning to get rid
Uh-huh.
of Matt Gay.
Right.
And Jake Moody, who
Hmm.
came to us, I believe, from the Chicago Bears, because he
Well,
hurt us.
he kicked against us that Bears game when Jaden
He was
fumbled.
with the Bears,
He was
right?
with the
So he,
Bears,
yes,
so
he
he
did
actually got the
come to
kick
us
against
from
us.
the
Yes.
Bears, and
Yes.
he hurt us because he helped the Bears beat us when they
He
beat
did.
us. Let me see, the Bears
In
beat us
some rain, in
24 to
some
20,
nasty weather.
25 to 24.
Yep. Yep.
So he's been good. So Jake Moody
Hmm.
kicked a 23-yard field goal. So that put us at 20 points. So it was Dallas 27 and
Yes.
Washington 20. So we're still one score apart. Okay.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
so this was good because, like you said, this is a game now. We have a competition going on. We
Right.
didn't lay down. We were down 21-3, and
Right.
now here we are 27-20.
Right.
So we
And
kept going.
I think that the NFL was happy because regardless of the records of both these teams not making it to the playoffs, it's two marquee franchises. But to be on a Netflix special, I think the NFL was happy that we did both turn out to have a good game. It wasn't a boring game. It kind of got a little spicier in the end. The second half of the game. So I'm glad that we did just go out there and we didn't lay an egg because that was too many people to be watching us on Netflix and on Christmas Day. You
But
know
look,
what I
I
mean?
don't care about people watching us on Netflix or making flicks. We still only have 4 wins.
Four
Okay.
wins.
So
And I'm glad you said that too, Denise. Do you know the last time that we won a game at Northwest this year?
let's see. The last time we won a game,
Mm-hmm.
we beat the
Last home
Giants.
game.
We
Last
beat
home game.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Home game win. We hosted, yeah, we hosted the Raiders.
September 21st was the last home game
We
that we won.
hosted the Raiders, and that was game number 3.
Yep, September 21st. So
And we have not, of our
out of
4
9 home games, we've only won those 2 home games. That was a good
Yeah,
thing.
and of our 4 wins,
Mm-hmm.
none of them have been consecutive. None of
Nope.
them have been back to back.
Not this
We
year.
had a win, a loss, a win, a loss.
Yes.
And then we just started losing, and thank goodness the Giants appeared on our schedule twice because without that we'd still probably be stuck at 3 wins. So thank goodness the Giants are the disaster that they are, which is a bigger disaster than what we are this season.
And speaking of that, the Giants beat the Raiders today, so those two were fighting for like number 1, number 2 in the draft. So that's amazing.
Yes. So,
But and we got a chance if we go into Philly next week, which I don't think we go. Now with Philly locking it up, I wonder if Philly's going to play their starters or they're going to still.
they shouldn't. Why should
Yeah,
they play? Let me tell you something. Even without their starters, our chances of beating Philly are not
slim to none pickings.
not good. And see, but what they're going to do is what we should be doing. Like because they're going to put their young hungries out there.
Yeah.
Okay, they're going to put their guys out there who are fighting for roster spots. They're not fighting to be in the playoffs. They're already in the playoffs. So they're not fighting for, the team is not fighting for position, but the players, if they are not the starting lineup, those players will be fighting for roster spots. So you have a competition within a competition, which is where we should be. So we, the Commanders, should send everybody out there who hasn't had a fair opportunity to play. And then that way, their young hungries can play our young hungries, and we can see who's the hungriest.
Now, what happened 2 weeks ago with the big brawl, as we talked about,
yes,
on our wonderful show. Do you think Philly is going to come out, with their start, like you're saying, they shouldn't with their starters, but do you think they may come out with their starters at first to try to set the tone, try to, put some on us and then take their players out, or you think they're just gonna
They might.
rubber
I mean,
band
it's not going to make a difference anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Because to me, they already
have a better roster. They have a better roster than so it really does.
They're already looking at a win, and that's why I didn't get why any player in the Philadelphia Eagles uniform would have been upset about anything anyway. You're winning. When you are winning, it doesn't matter if somebody like bumps up into you or they, they make contact with you or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's football. Your team is winning. Mm-hmm. Why would you mess up the juju of your team by trying to fight? Because all Philly did was give the Commanders an opportunity to show that they believe in brotherhood, show that they band together, and show that they can brawl. So that was stupid. It was a stupid thing for Philly to do, to give our guys that opportunity to say, okay, you know what? We can't win the football game, but we can beat you in a brawl. You're in our house, and we can beat you down. We can take you down. We can converge upon you like a pack of wolves and take you down. So, and people are saying, oh, Dan Quinn was mad about, the 2-point conversion. Let me tell you something, Dan, and I know you don't listen to me, but Dan, if you have 99 problems, Philly going for a 2-point conversion, them, darling. Okay? Because that is well within the rules. And if they want to stack points, they can stack points. The only thing you can do, like D Nice so eloquently put it when they played, the only thing you can do is stop it or lump it.
That's all.
That is it. If you can't stop it, then you need to be quiet and suck it up and don't give it any air or energy that it doesn't need. Okay? Because to act like you're upset because Philly did something that was well within the rules is crazy. Like, Dan Quinn has so many things to be upset about. Okay? Things that he needs to focus on, things that he needs to get in control of. Okay? Philly going for 2 points shouldn't be it. So when Philly comes back, Philly's going to do what Philly does. The problem is, the $1 million question is, will the Commanders have an answer for it? Now, if they want to fight, hey, we know we can do that now. Now we know. Fool around, find out. Okay, that's the formula. Fool around, find out. So they know now they can't come in with that, brawler mentality like they're going to intimidate us in terms of fighting, because our guys banded together and they handled that bit of business. Okay, they handled that bit of business. So, I just wish that Dan Quinn would put our young hungries out there so we can see who they are and what they can do if we get a chance. And at this point, we don't need to be putting our starting lineup at risk. We don't need to sacrifice any more of our starting players. Let Biotic be the last one this season.
We just been decimated by injuries all over the place. When it rains, it pours. And I know you go back before when you say about strength and conditioning, and I agree with all that, but I don't know.
However,
I don't know what's going on. Why it's like we're just, and then it's not little injuries, Denise. It's these major injuries that's putting them out. So I hope a speedy recovery to Sam Cosmi and Tyler Biotic, along with who we lost a couple weeks ago, where we lost Zach Ertz. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But I don't know. I know as fans, I think we've had some bad years in the past when Jake Gruden was here, when we were decimated by injuries on the offensive line.
2017.
But I don't think it hit us like it did this year.
Yes, it did.
You think
yes,
so?
It did.
Well, that was an offensive line, but I'm talking about as far as skill players. I think we were more hurt this year.
This one has really messed with the starting lineup more.
Yeah.
But 2017 was a year where we had tons and tons of injuries, and it did impact our starting lineup, but not quite like this. But we were racked and riddled with the injury bug, and this is why Chad Englehart and trying to find a solution to that problem. That's why he got eventually promoted to the head of strength and conditioning, because he was on the team, but he got promoted to the head. So, he and his team did come up with some solutions, to help keep the team strong and in good condition, keep
Right.
healthier. But now, see, it's times like this when you face these challenges that you have to show you can come up with solutions.
Mm-hmm.
That is the problem.
Right.
We are dealing with this challenge and we're not coming up with solutions. And that's what we have our coaches for. That's what we have our different teams and different groups to do. Mm-hmm. They are specialists who focus on key areas where there are problems. They are supposed to find solutions. So, we know that, the injury situation is a shared responsibility. Okay.
Yes.
I don't doubt that at all. However, when you hire a team of professionals, when you hire a team of specialists, they're supposed to troubleshoot. They're supposed to find solutions.
And but like I told you before, I agree with you on that, but I don't, because like I said, it's not like it's just the same type of injury. It's been different all types of different injuries.
That's what makes them specialists.
But that's what they're specialists. That's just to do research. But you can't, as specialists, you can't prevent injuries, Denise. That's part of football.
No. Wait a minute. Hold up. The actual job. I invite you to look it up. I invite you to do research, okay? Because I've done this research. I would not be harping on this team every week if I hadn't done my due diligence.
But Denise, that the injuries have been a plague of this whole NFL season.
It's been a plague. It's always going to be part of the game.
It's been for other teams as well. A lot of if you go look at the stats and look at how so many injuries have happened, soft tissue injuries have happened this year. It's not just the Commanders that's just been bed-bitten with that.
No. And the Commanders aren't the worst. The Commanders aren't the team that has had the most injuries this season. Yeah. However, if it's burgundy and gold, it's my business. If it's not burgundy and gold, it's not my business. Okay? I'm focused. I'm here. I'm here. You see this W over here? This is where I am.
We gotta give Chad some grace a little bit, because I think you're a little too hard on Chad. I think you are.
Well, you know what? Maybe I am too hard on Chad. You know what? And Chad might be able to share some information that might correct me.
I would love to have him on the show to talk to us about a little bit about injury and recovery. That would be great. You know what I mean? That would give us an understanding and give us some education about injuries.
Yeah. And it would give us some explanations so we can have a better understanding. Okay. Right. So if we have a better understanding because we have accurate knowledge, then Denise might shut up. Okay. Right. But based on my research, because I've done some, okay, the strength and conditioning team is responsible for helping the players to avoid injury. Right. And they're responsible for helping the players to fully recover from injuries once they happen. So I'm not expecting them to be magicians, okay? But sports medicine is a science.
Definitely is. Okay? Yes, you're correct. Yeah.
And there have been lots of advancements made in sports medicine. So for us to go through all of this again, and to the point where it is impacting our starting lineup.
Badly.
From one game
on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, who's going to be playing? And then we go from the starters to second string to third string to fourth string. We are paying. Well, now I'm not going to say we. Let me not do that. The Washington Commanders.
I wish
because I'm not paying anybody because my jokers would be fine. Look, where is my pink? Oh, jeez. Look, where is my pink slip? Because look, this is what they be getting.
Everybody be getting a pink slip on the.
This is what they would absolutely be getting. Okay, so I would not be in favor of what's going on. But, we have to do what we have to do. Right. So, I don't want to come down on anybody where it's not deserving.
Right.
Okay. I don't want to.
Right now, everybody has the blame cry.
Exactly. It's a shared responsibility. Right. But when you have a team of specialists,
Uh-huh.
it's okay to, expect some results,
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you definitely on that. I don't know. I just hope next year, and we never know because every year is a year to year thing. But I hope next year we don't see this at all. Um, this 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 started off bad. I mean, it was other variables besides contract negotiations, but I think it all started when, seeming to me, when Austin Eckler blew his Achilles, and that was just a snowball effect right there. Then Teddy
Yeah,
gets hurt, you know. So
yeah, yeah. But I hope that we can find some solutions to the
me too.
problem, and next year when everybody comes back, they'll
Now,
all be
now,
healthy.
now when we say everybody, are you when you saying far as coaching staff, or you saying all the same players?
Whoever is on the
Okay,
Washington Commanders
okay,
payroll.
got you.
Okay,
Okay, I'm
so
with
I'm not campaigning for Quinn to be fired right
you.
now. I
Mm-hmm. No,
think
am I? No, am I? I
I
give
think
him. I give
that
him one more year. But
yeah, I
I
think
wouldn't
that
I wouldn't
go
be
ahead.
mad if there were some coordinator changes. I would not be mad at that. I would not be mad if it was. I still believe because there's a lack of player development on this team. I really think this roster on both sides need to be shaken up a little bit. When I'm saying far as now, I'm not advocating. I guess I am advocating as far as somebody getting fired, but I just don't think. Besides when you have like Bobby Ingram, who is great as a wide receiver coach, I don't see the same when we looking at certain people, even like people like Mikey Sanders still. Okay, last year played better. This year has somewhat regressed. I mean, he plays in his spurts when he plays all right. Same thing with Johnny Newton. So I just think we need to get some coaches in here that's going to maximize the young talent that we have and be able to coach them up. At the end of the day, that's what it's about, coaching up. You know what I mean? Because in this game, someone's gonna get hurt, so it has to be the next man up mentality. But if you're not getting player development, then you can't do that. So I think we need to upgrade. Me personally, just my opinion, just my opinion. I think we need to make some upgrades on our coaching staff. I'm not about friends. I'm about this team first, ladies and gentlemen. One thing
Well,
about Denise, I'm always going to say, I'm about the team. I'm not about no person. I'm about having a winning, sustained organization. And I feel right now we need to tweak it a little bit because right now everything is on the table. You're 4-12 right now. This is not 12-5 like last year. You know what I mean? So I think this year, off season, we got to reevaluate everything. Everything is on the table to me.
well, like I said, I'm not advocating for Dan Quinn to be fired this season.
Hmm.
Okay, I think he deserves a fair opportunity to show what he can do next season, but I still don't think he's the right coach to lead this team to a championship. He's too soft, and he, in keeping Joe Witt on the payroll when he
Hmm.
relieved Joe Witt of his major responsibility of play calling as the defensive coordinator, uh,
Hmm.
that was a bad move because it sends a bad message.
Okay.
Okay. The message that it sends is if you have a good relationship with Dan Quinn,
Hmm.
Quinn really likes you, even when you fail at your job, he won't pull the trigger and fire you. And that is going to set a negative tone for somebody who's not doing their job,
Yeah.
gets fired, because then they will be able to come back and say, well, look, you know, I may not have done my job as well as you wanted me to,
Hmm.
but maybe I didn't fail as bad as Joe Witt and you kept him on board. See, decisions like that undermine an organization's culture. Okay. So he's already let me know that he cannot be relied upon to make good decisions. Okay. He's letting personal relationships cloud his professional judgment. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
And overall, I think Dan Quinn is just soft. He is just too
Yeah,
soft.
I agree with you. He speaks it, but you don't necessarily see it.
He walks the walk, but he
Yeah,
can't talk the talk. And see, I don't
yeah.
like all that philosophizing. He
Uh-huh.
talks a whole lot
A lot
for
of
a guy
cliches.
who's coaching a team that's only had 4 wins. I mean, the press conferences, he knows how to communicate because what he does is he has committed himself to remembering the press corps
I
names.
agree.
Okay. So when they ask questions, he addresses them by name. Okay. And that's a good thing. But this is not a communications group, okay?
I agree. I agree.
This is the NFL. This is about football. And I
Mhm.
don't care how well you can explain a loss. I'm tired of the losing.
A loss is a
Okay.
loss. There's no moral victory. So I don't care if it's one
But
point, 2 points, but there's it's nothing to feel good about a loss. That's to me that's loser man's mentality to say, oh,
yeah,
we lost. It was a close one. We still lost. When you look at the loss win column, it's still either a W or it's an L, and we're losing. So I don't feel good. I don't believe in none of those moral victories. I can care less about
well,
how close. Close
well,
ain't good enough.
but Dan Quinn philosophizes a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, like he's Socrates or Plato. Or I don't get this whole I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna explain all this and explain all that. I don't like that. But now I'm seeing the players do some of the same.
Yeah.
Okay, now
Ball is
they
ball is life type stuff. Like you hear that cliche all the time. Ball is
and
life.
and, and I'm going to, we were out there, we were trying, and we pulled some things together, but we just have to finish strong.
Mm-hmm.
Finish
Mm-hmm.
strong. It's week number 17. Out of 18 weeks, there is no finish strong when you've only won 4 games. But next time, we just have to pull it all together. And I'm just happy to be here, and I'm happy to play for Coach Quinn. Of course, you're happy to play for Coach Quinn.
Right. Right.
Soft.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is happy to play for a soft coach. Get out of
Absolutely.
here. So,
Absolutely.
I'm seeing Quinn's, not his softness. Thank goodness. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying that. Okay. But I'm seeing his philosophizing impact this team.
So
Now,
so what would you like to see him next year? So what's some of the things I know, in a perfect man's world, I know we say that Dan Quinn is, a little soft, but what do you want to see him incorporate in this team next year that you think that can take this team to another level?
well, Dan Quinn has done too much for me to
Okay.
look to him for solutions.
Well,
Okay.
well,
But
next year's
he
next
can
year.
do
It's a
better.
season. Hmm.
He can do better.
Right.
So I would say, and next season, okay, he's going to have to hire a defensive coordinator. Okay.
Absolutely. Hmm.
Joe Witt has to be gone completely from the organization. Okay. And since he likes to talk so much, he needs to explain to us that in the future, he's not going to allow personal feelings cloud his professional decision making. So in future, if someone is not fulfilling the responsibilities and duties of their job, then they will be let go from the organization, and that will be across the board. Okay. And then on the offensive side, since I think Cliff Kingsbury will probably remain, Cliff needs to be told that his play calling lacks imagination. Okay.
Hmm.
His play calling needs to be more diversified. It needs to become more effective, because even though he's doing better than the defense, we don't want to compare ourselves to the worst of the worst. We want to compare ourselves to the best of the best, so we can continue to make improvements and do that going in the right direction. And Cliff Kingsbury needs to be told straight up, like I've been telling him, straight up, Cliff, keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result, is the definition of insanity. Cliff needs to let go of the insanity. When
Right.
something isn't working, he sticks with it. When
Yeah.
something does work, then he wants to switch up.
Hmm.
That needs to stop. And what I'd also like to see Dan Quinn do as the head coach of this team is not sit back and watch his coordinators fail.
Right.
Okay? Because
Yeah.
taking over the duties of one of your subordinates
Hmm.
might be a stopgap, but it's not a solution.
I
Okay.
agree.
A
I agree.
solution is to find a better qualified person with a better skill set who can come in and do the job more effectively and efficiently than whoever it is you fired.
Right.
Okay.
So
But
so
to
so do you
say,
think?
because you're not doing it, I'm going to do it for you. Because really, when we look at the bottom line,
Uh huh.
Joe Witt's defense was never shut out. It was Dan Quinn's defense that was shut out, shut down,
Yeah,
and
but Joe Witt defenses were getting blown out, historically blown
yeah.
out.
But what did the Vikings do?
I mean, yeah, 31
I
donut is
think
not
the
good.
Vikings was the worst game
Yeah,
of the season, and yes, it
well,
was. It
far
was
score wise, but when you look
yes,
at when Joe Witt was running his team, this defense, They were
It
giving up
wasn't good, and I'm saying it wasn't
future.
good.
It was just something that you sometimes I just wanted to turn the TV off, or if I was at the
It
game,
was
I
bad,
just
and
wanted to walk out.
I admit that it was
Yeah.
bad. However, with Dan Quinn taking over,
Uh-huh.
we were supposed to see a different result.
Yeah. Well, that shows the
Now the
lack of talent.
defense is
That shows
better.
the talent. The talent is there's lack of.
Oh, come on now, come on
Yeah.
now. We weren't talking about the talent when it was Joe Witt in charge
No,
of them.
I was. I kept saying this is
Okay,
rough. We
okay,
got to get better
but see,
bottom up.
we're not giving Dan Quinn benefits that we didn't give Joe Witt.
Right.
Okay, so Dan Quinn is not getting us to a different bottom line. Is my point. Okay, so even though he took over the duties, we are still losing.
Yeah, we're still losing.
So I'm not singing the praises of a Dan Quinn run defense because
do you see them playing a little harder though? Even though the wins are not, it's not equivalent to the wins. But do you?
They don't
effort,
stink as bad, but they still stink. They don't stink as bad, but they still stink. So what do you want? What do you want? Because it's not good enough for me.
Right.
It's just not good enough. So
Right.
I'm not impressed. And I still say that if Dan Quinn had made the right decision that would not undermine this organization's culture, he could have a different defensive coordinator in here, and we could probably have some different results. Because one thing I noticed about this team, and it's been going this way for years, this team responds well to change.
Yeah.
So a new defensive coordinator probably would have brought new life to our defense. Our players would have probably been galvanized. They probably would have played for this new guy much better.
So you're speaking of like at the beginning of the season, we should have brought a coordinator in?
When Dan Quinn decided to relieve Joe Witt of his play calling duty, which basically was a soft firing.
Right, but the only thing with that, you will only have to be able to bring someone within the organization if you're going to do it that way, versus having somebody out. Yeah, but I don't think they don't feel that we got somebody qualified.
What do they know? They're losing. Why are you trusting our judgment? Talking about what they don't feel, they don't think.
They must don't see it. That's why he didn't elevate nobody. Once he demoted Joe Witt, he didn't elevate nobody. He elevated. Well, I ain't gonna say he elevated himself, but I don't know. I don't.
He didn't handle.
I'm trying to be rational about it, but it's some of this stuff we can't rationalize.
But he didn't. Dan Quinn didn't handle that situation well
at all. He didn't have it good.
He wasn't satisfied with the job Joe Witt was doing. He should have let Joe Witt Jr. go. That's the bottom line. And to do anything other than that is just undermining the organization's culture. It's sending a bad message to the personnel, and it's letting everybody know that he lets personal relationships, favoritism, cronyism lead the way instead of professionalism.
Yeah.
And he didn't solve the problem of losing.
It's still a bad defense. still
losing. So, it's just like the only thing that beats a failure is a try. And he, to me, hasn't tried hard enough in the right direction. Now, I'm not saying he's not trying hard. He's not trying hard enough in the right direction. And why upper management would allow him to make such bad decisions and let them stand is beyond me.
Yeah, that's why I think it's going to change a lot in the offseason. I think that's why I say it's going to come from upper management. I think it's going to force Dan to make changes regardless of what he wants to or not. I think that hammer is going to come down from Josh Magic Johnson.
Well, why wouldn't he want to make changes?
Because as you said, the loyalty, he's too loyal. You know what I mean? And that's
he's not the right guy for the job. Then that's what it means.
He probably is not.
He's not the right guy for the job. If you have to question where a man's loyalty is, and it's not toward making this team better and putting some W's on the board, his loyalties go in a different direction. It has nothing to do with winning and losing. That's not the leader of this team that's going to take them to a championship. That's why I say I don't care what Dan Quinn does at this point, because he's shown me who he is. When someone, according to the late great Maya Angelou, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And she said, believe them the first time. Now I try to give people a chance. chance. I might believe you the second or the third time.
Right.
But I am going to believe you. And Dan Quinn has shown me from a managerial standpoint who he is, and I believe him.
Yeah.
He's not the guy.
Yeah. Well, okay. So when you say he's not the guy like far as a coach, or do you think he's not the guy far as that can lead men? You know what I mean? Because I think
he's not the guy who's going to lead this team to a championship.
Okay. All right.
Now he might be able to lead men somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. He might be able to lead them somewhere, but not to an NFL championship.
Right.
And that's all I care about. Because that's where we are over here with the W and Washington Commanders. That's what we care about. A championship. And Dan Quinn is just not the guy. Now, he's nice. He means well. He's personable. He's all those good and wonderful things. None of that equates to a win.
Nah. And that's your success is measured by W's and losses. You know what I mean? So it's no, oh, he was just the nicest man of the year award. That's not, we measure success in the NFL or any professional sport by W's and L's. So at the end of the day, you got to rack up some W's. Well, he did last year, and we see that already. What Dan has done already this year, you know what I mean, has erased all the marvelous stuff that he did last year, to being 12-5 to 4-12, and I'm saying 4-13 because I believe that's what it's going to be, Denise, against the Eagles. But if that don't humble you, I don't know what else is going to humble you. You know what I mean? And I would like to think that he will dig in his tool bag a little bit and say, hey, I gotta change up some things, because yes, injuries was part of the reason of this, but I don't like to use that as a sole excuse. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, every NFL team has major injuries. The thing is, when you have injuries on your team, that's why you have to have a good roster. And we need to get more depth. We got to get younger. We got to get faster. We need game changers on this team. Dan Quinn, you need to, all this, I get this, and that kind of irritates me. I used to hear this with some of our old regime. Oh, we want character guys. Okay, I like character, but sometimes, Denise, you need a bad boy in your life. You understand what I'm saying? You need some players that's with some dog. I don't want just a choir boy type of locker room. I want some good and I want some bad, because those type of, I think, and if you got the right culture, as you said, you have the right culture, I think those people that's not necessary that you seem as being high character type of people, I think they will conform and fall in place if you have your culture together. But I just want to see us get some game changers. We don't have any game changers, and Dan, and stop going after these old guys. Stop going after these people. We need to, let's go after some young talent. If we want to go on somebody else's team, let's look for some young good talent. Maybe they might not was getting as much promise there, but sometimes change of environment and change of scenery helps players. But we got to get better. I look at us so much, Denise, compared to other teams. We are so, I don't know, the team speed enough, and I mean, it's not there. We don't play championship type of ball at all.
Well, we don't have a leader of champions.
Yeah, well,
that's not who we have. But I do believe Dan will, in a reactionary way, make changes. And like you said, a lot of those changes could probably come from above.
Yeah, I think they are.
Where he's not going to be necessarily in charge of, taking the initiative on those changes, but they will, come as orders from above, which is fine. My bottom line is I don't care, who's calling the shots. I just want a team that wins. And like you said, people are concerned about, high moral character or whatever. Yeah. I'm not concerned about any of that. Look, as long as they are not in
football
prison,
players.
As long as they're not in prison, they're free to play.
Players. Yeah,
they're free to play. Let them play, and let the play show who they are, because I couldn't care less about anything that is outside of football. And our guys, are good guys. They have, their charities and their foundations, and they do great things in the community and all of that. But they aren't here to be philanthropists.
No.
Okay. They are here to be football players.
Absolutely.
Football players who win games. Okay.
That's what it's measured by.
I want them to earn those contracts. Okay. And the way you earn a contract is by winning.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's
you're
it.
right.
All. So,
Right.
all of the other philosophizing and the rationalizing and justifying, I'm not interested in, because this team is just really not a good team. And to your point about last season, which people can't seem to let go of because it
Yeah.
felt so good, but
Yeah.
last season
That's a
will
memory
go
now.
down as a fluke because
Yeah.
Dan Quinn has not shown that he knows what it takes, or he does what it takes to sustain positive performance with great outcomes.
Right.
The fall off this season has just been
That fall off. That was a falling off a cliff.
incredible.
Incredible.
It's just amazing.
Yeah.
It leaves you bewildered. We're trying to figure out what has gone on here. We're trying to come up with solutions. And the problem with that is you and I aren't paid to come up with solutions.
Right.
Dan and his team are, and they're
Right.
not doing it. And I have a major problem with that. I expect specialists, I expect professionals to be able to problem solve. And this team has lots of problems. And it's more than, like you said, it's more than injuries. Okay.
Yeah,
This
more than
team
that.
has problems. And this team has too many people making too much money for them to be putting on the field the product that we're getting. And I don't care. You have a good point, and I will concede to it about being competitive. Okay. I will concede to that point being a good point. It is a valid point. It is a strong point. However, it is not my point.
I understand. I
It
understand.
is not my point. My point is, jokers, you get paid.
Yeah.
Go out there and
Yeah,
win.
go out there and do it. Get the job done. That's what you are. You're
That's
like an
it.
independent contractor. That's what you are. I hired you to get the job done. You know what I mean?
And
So,
it's not being done,
Right.
And then there are people who are getting paid who aren't even given the opportunity to try.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's unfortunate too. But see, that gets down to mismanagement,
Right.
lack of player development. This is why I can't get excited about the draft for the Washington Commanders, because we have drafted the highest of the high.
Yeah.
And the best we've managed to get out of that is one good season.
So with free agency starting in March, because free agency is always before the draft, and with money that we supposedly have to spend, and then with the salary cap should be going up, with the new TV deals. Do you want to see us be more? What's the word? Do you want to see us be more aggressive this off season, as far as spending money as free agents, or do you want to see us continue just to build through the draft?
I think we need to definitely continue to build through the draft. Okay. The draft is every year.
Okay.
And football is a young man's sport.
Absolutely.
Okay. It's always about, the newbies coming up, the young hungries.
Yes.
So you must always build through the draft. Now, some people, some teams can go about it a different way, but for where we are and for where we've been, we need to continue to build through the draft, because we are always rebuilding this team. Now, when it comes to free agencies, we should be aggressive in the right way. Aggression should not only be financial. Okay?
Yeah, don't make no panic moves. Don't make panic moves. Make decisive moves.
And make smart moves, because here's the thing. When you get someone out of free agency, you are paying someone money to come in and do a job. And you are having to balance what they've actually done against what you think they can do for this team.
Yes.
And thus far, we haven't been very good in that area, because even when players have done good things on other teams, that has not necessarily translated over to the burgundy and gold.
Yeah.
Okay. And like you said, we have to watch out for this age thing, because for some reason that became a trend to get older veterans. I'm not interested in getting more players whose best years are behind them. I want to get some players whose best years might be in front of them.
Right. They
because
have a
that way we can win, and we can build our way to a championship.
Absolutely.
But you can't move on to a championship with guys whose best days are behind them, with guys who just really want to go out with a splash, because that is not sustainable.
Right.
Okay. So even if they, take us to some great heights like they did last season, this season has shown. This season is the proof in the pudding. It is not sustainable.
Sustainable, right?
So young players, youth is what
Yeah.
takes you into the future.
But I don't want just youth and young. I want football players with high IQs as well. You know what I mean? Because
But
you can
see,
have
that
all the
can be
talent in the world,
developed.
but yeah,
That can be developed.
you gotta
If you
have
have
this.
competent coaches, they should be able to and see there are certain vetting processes that good scouts
Yeah.
and good coaches use to test and determine what a player's IQ is.
Well,
Because you got to ask
I'm
questions.
glad you said that because I think we need to revamp this scouting team too. So like we said before, it's a lot of holdovers right now. Right now, we need to look in a whole totally different way. I mean, if we're going to model ourselves, I believe if we're going to be successful and sustain success, then we need to look at, just like with any business model, you always want to look at a model that successful.
That
So
works, right?
that works. So that's what we need to do. When it goes all the way back, like I said, it's a lot of things behind the scenes, from our national scouts to our regional scouts to
Yeah.
our area scouts. We need to change that. I don't want no more leftovers. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. I
Well,
understand.
that's called best practices.
Yeah,
When
that's
you
best practice. But I
observe the
just don't want.
success of other people and you
Yeah.
emulate that,
But
it's called
it
best
didn't win to
practices.
anything. Why we got somebody? And I'm not saying that he might not be a good scout, but you've been here 19 years, and as you've been a scout for 19 years, look at the players been here for the last 19 years. It ain't been good. It ain't been real good. So
Right.
the thing is, if it's broke, if it ain't broke, then don't fix it. Well, if it's broke, I need it fixed. And I had 19 years, 25 years of brokenness. So I need this all fixed. So right now, I need them to go change scouting. I need everything on the table at the end of the off season because
Right.
I cannot, and I'm sure Commander fans out there feel the same way we do. We can't endure this no more. This season has taken so much fun. What we all endured the last year with that
Yeah.
12-5 season and been one game from the Super Bowl, we were all on cloud nine, and now this type of season has brought our expectations back down. I've even at the game, I was talking to a few people that were still, that's coming to the games, and some of them not even reeing up for next year. I'm hearing more and more of that, and that's depressing because that reminds me back, when Snyder was here. I thought we crossed that. I thought I would never see what I'm seeing this year. This is unacceptable, Denise.
But you know what I say about the fans. You know what I say about the fans,
Yeah,
though.
we're fickle. We're fickle
The
fans.
fans complain. But when it gets down to it, they put their money down for this team. This team's fan base pulls out the money, cash, check, credit card. I don't know what
I'm one of them.
debit card, whatever they use, whatever form of payment they use, cash, check, credit. They put their money down for this team. Okay, they buy the merchandise. They buy all of the officially licensed merchandise. They show up at events. You cannot go to a Commanders event that is not well attended. Okay,
Absolutely, you're right about that.
And the game,
I know about that. That's definitely true.
They say, well, the games have, half the stadium filled with the opposing team's fans.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess where those opposing teams' fans bought the tickets from? They bought the tickets from season ticket holders in Burgundy and Gold. They didn't go to Ticketmaster and buy some fresh new tickets.
Or
no
SeatGeek,
sales. Okay? They've already been bought and they've already been sold.
Yeah.
So that's why the team doesn't really have to cry about, what colorways are in the stadium, because all of those seats are paid for.
I mean, I get that because you're bottom line, I heard, but the thing is, for good organizations, you want your stadium filled with mostly of your fans, not the opposition. You know what I'm saying?
But you got to win games. You got to win. The only reason we don't have
it starts from winning.
We don't have it because our team doesn't win.
Right.
Okay, but as soon as our team starts winning, Oh, those people are not going to sell their tickets. Those
Yeah.
people are going to show up to the stadium and sit in their own seats. They're not going to put their, tickets on StubHub and all that stuff.
Right.
So that will change. That will winning, like you always say. You've been saying it for years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Winning cures all.
Oh.
Okay.
Yep.
Winning cures all. So once they start winning, all that stuff will take care of itself. And the fans, they claim, oh, I'm not doing this or I'm not doing that. And they love to make announcements. Okay. People who really withdraw their support, their cash, they don't need to ring bells and ding dongs and make announcements and put posts on social media. When you pull your money out of something, you just shut up and pull your money back. That's all you do when it's real, But these Commanders fans, that's why I just, I don't pay attention to it, because they have the right to say what they say. They have a right to complain. They have a right to cheer. They have a right to do what they do, because in the end, they spend their money.
Yes,
Burgundy and gold sells. Burgundy and gold moves merchandise. It is what it is. Burgundy and gold, this Washington Commanders team, despite their win-loss record, is always solidly in the top 10 of money makers for the league.
Wow.
Not just overall valuation of the team, but I'm talking about overall valuation and sales, ticket sales, merchandise sales. The Washington Commanders are always solidly in the top 10, like close to top 5, but solidly in the top 10, regardless of the win-loss record. So that means these fans spend their money. And
I agree.
You're one of them, because they showed up and sold out all the way across in another country on another continent. Okay,
they I'll be there next year too. Wherever we at next year, I pray for that. Right. Because that's where my heart is. My heart bleeds burgundy and gold, as I have a tattoo on my arm says, burgundy and gold till I fold. I've been a loyalist fan. I did get to see somewhere, and you yourself as well, the glory years. So this was made me become a fan of this team. Fan stands for fanatic. That's why I'm a fanatic. Win, lose, or draw. You know what I mean? That's why, the years past got a little numbed because we were losing. But last year just it just breathed life in me again. Right. It made some of your people that were just really falling off or really done with the team, be very optimistic, and just to see it brought the joy back into the city. Every time this team plays well, this city is well.
That's right. You see it in everybody's face. I mean, you walk down the street, you can just look, the Commanders must have won.
Everywhere, everything.
They must have won. But when the Commanders lose, you can feel it. It's like, oh man, they must have lost the game. You don't even have to watch. You don't even have to watch the football. If you go downtown DC, you can tell just by people's general attitude how this team is performing.
Yeah, and you could see it even in the content creator world, like you and I are.
Oh, absolutely.
You can see how even as the season has started to unfold and it hasn't done well, people are not even looking at the content as much. Not per se just us, but I'm speaking of other content creators.
Right, big platforms.
Big platforms. Right. Even when last year when this team was doing well, everybody was burning them up.
Couldn't get them
up. You know what I mean? And so you kind of see it. And I understand, and I hope next year that we can bring the joy back. They can bring the joy back to us as content creators, as fans, and just of a team that really rocks out. As you see me, I don't care win, lose, or draw. How many people told me I done went to the stores, liquor store, all that stuff. You need to take the command. Guess what? I'm gonna represent. I'm always gonna represent. You know what I'm saying? I ain't no fair weather fan.
Right.
When we win, I'm wearing my stuff. I'm gonna put it on. When we lose, I'm gonna put it on. You understand? So one thing about me, I feel like I've earned my degree and be able to talk trash about this team. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because this team, it's like a bad relationship. 1 minute I love you, the next minute I hate you. You know what I'm saying? And
there is that dysfunction.
That's called a dysfunctional relationship.
It is dysfunctional.
That's what we have with our Commanders. So we need to go to some type of counselor or something. You know what I mean? But
they need to start winning.
They need to, and that's going to be our counseling. You're
But
right.
you know what? If you suggest that, then you know Dan Quinn, being the great philosophizer that he is, he'll recommend a counselor to you that's probably one of his
Right.
friends and
Right.
buddies. He's on the friends and family plan. Okay, so
Uh-huh.
that might just extend his time unnecessarily. But yes, winning is a cure all, and
Yes,
that's
it
that's
is.
the only remedy that I want for this team.
Mm-hmm.
So getting back to the game, we are in the fourth quarter. We're in the fourth quarter, and Aubrey, the
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys, had an opportunity to kick a 58-yard field goal. That's
Yeah.
long. That's almost 60. Okay, he
Yes.
missed that one. But it was 58, so that's a mitigating circumstance, and he doesn't miss very many at all.
No.
So
No.
so that was different. That
Yeah.
that was unusual to see.
Mm-hmm.
So when our Commanders got the ball back, let's see. I don't think our Commanders really did much of anything.
Well, like I know in the fourth quarter at one point it was that Dallas was up 27 and we scored and we end up kicking a field goal to make it 27-20. So
Yes. Okay. So this is where, yes, Dallas. Well, actually, Dallas scored again.
right,
Okay.
Dallas scored. Yeah, Dallas
Aubrey
scored.
kicked a 51-yard field
Right.
goal.
Got
So he missed the 58, but he came back and kicked the 51.
it. Mm-hmm.
So that made the score Dallas 30,
30.
Washington 20.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Washington had 20 points. So then our Jake came back again, and
Yeah.
he kicked a 51-yard field goal in the
Yeah.
fourth quarter.
So I understand what they were doing. Some people were like, well, why didn't they go for a touchdown? I understand we already were down by 11. So to kick the field goal, you kick a field goal, you make it a one possession game if you can get the onside kick along with a 2-point conversion. So I get it,
Yeah.
and but my thing is this: at this point, you have nothing to lose.
Right. So why not go for it?
Why not?
Why not go for it? But see, that's that all those quadratic equations that
Yeah.
Dan was going through in his mind. No,
Yeah.
see that's too much thinking the wrong way. It's like at this point, what do you have to lose? Nothing.
Right.
You have only put 4 wins on at that point
Ooh,
17 games.
that hurts to have that on your resume as only 4-win team.
4 wins. So
I mean,
this,
because
at one point, it's like do what you haven't normally been doing.
Yeah.
Like switch up. Like if you would normally go left and going left loses every time, then
Yeah.
start going right.
Going right.
If you've been going down, start going up. You got to change, you got to switch up, you got to divot, you got to pivot, you got to duck, dodge, bob, and weave. You got to just go in a different direction other than what you've been doing, because what you've been doing does not work. So I disagree with Dan's decision making on this, but Jake Moody did kick that field goal. So that was Dallas 30, Washington 23. And to seal and wrap this up, I will say the final score on Christmas Day, Dallas Cowboys being hosted by the Washington Commanders, was Dallas 30.
Yes.
Washington Commanders 23. And to all, a good morning, a good afternoon,
good night, good morning,
good night. Okay, that was it. So Merry Christmas. Okay, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Our Commanders will play the Philadelphia Eagles. I understand it's in Philly now because a lot of this was yet to be determined.
Right.
So I think they're both going to play in Philly, and I'm thinking it's going to be January. Is it going to be January 4th? Because
January the 4th.
3rd
January
or 4th.
Yes. January 4th.
January 4th. Okay, so it's been finalized now. So it's going to be January 4th in Philadelphia. The Washington Commanders will face off for a second and final time this season against the division NFC East division rival Philadelphia Eagles. And we are not expecting them to win.
No.
But as always, we expect them to compete.
Absolutely.
So there's that. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Within the rules, okay, the Philadelphia Eagles can do whatever it is they want to do within the NFL rules. Okay? But if they try any of that fighting and brawling stuff, baby, It's burgundy and gold.
all day.
Hitting
They
your soul. Okay,
they
it's
must
burgundy and gold.
they must have forgot. All they gotta do is go back look at the old film and they'll see. You know
There
what I
you
mean? But look, Denise, before we wrap this up, let me take this time to tell everybody that's in the chat. Do us a favor, like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. We got to get these algorithms going out there. D Nice and Denise, we're on our journey to 1,000 subscribers. So please do us a favor, like, comment, share,
Share,
tell a
share,
friend.
share.
Yes, share. We all in it. This is the time of giving season. We need to share the love.
Sharing is
Share the
caring.
love. Yes, sharing is caring. You know what I mean? And check us out. Here at Two of a Kind Sports, as we always like to say, where passion meets the game, we try to bring you new, different, fresh perspectives, different energy, and just talk about things. You know what I mean? This is a safe space. So,
Yeah.
we want to get you guys to start, being a little more interactive with us. Hit us up in the comments. We do respond to them.
Yes, we do.
We just want to get more feedback, and we want to continue to keep growing this community base. So, for Two of a Kind Sports from D Nice, I definitely got to say thank you. Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy holidays. And as I always say, before I give you the mic, Denise, love someone and hug someone. D Nice loves you all. Thank you so much for tuning in to Two of a Kind Sports. This year has been a very trying year, but we've all been here. We've all stuck through. So I know it's going to get better. And we're going to raise hell next year.
Absolutely. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in. We definitely appreciate your viewership. And we really thank you and value you for joining us on this new journey for us.
Absolutely.
Nice and I began this journey years ago when we were podcasting.
Yeah, doing
Okay.
podcasts.
And we decided to give you the visual. We were already doing the audio part, but we want to thank you. This is our first season. This is our introductory season. It's been a learning curve for both of us, but we have been pushing through, and we have more great content that is both entertaining and informative in store for you for the new year. So happy 2025. We hope 2025 was a good year for you, and we are even more hoping that 2026 will be a better year for you.
Absolutely.
So we would definitely, and we would like to be part of that here on Two of a Kind Sports, with you tuning in week after week to look at our content, especially during the Commander season. We will be covering the team. However, during the off season, we will be covering other DC sports teams, and we will be covering other stories. So please stay here, stay tuned, stay with us, and we can all grow together. But we appreciate you being here with us, and I hope everyone had a wonderful and safe Merry Christmas. I wish you a very happy holiday season.
Absolutely.
Have a happy New Year celebration. 2026 holds great things for all of us. So be with us to enjoy it all. You can share ours, and we will share yours.
Yes. And Denise, I'd like to also say special Merry Christmas and special shout out to our technical advisor, Shory.
Absolutely.
You mean the world to Denise and I. Man, without you, you helped make Two of a Kind Sports. So we want to tell you personally, thank you so much for all that you commit to us each and every day, and for all the hard work that you put behind the scenes for us, Shory. So I want to tell you personally, myself, thank you so much, and I look forward to 2026 for us to keep putting out this great content, and we're just going to keep getting better and better. So thank you, Shory. Happy holidays to you and your family.
Absolutely, and I want to take a moment to thank Shory too, individually myself. I definitely appreciate Shory's hard work. Shory knows so much, and he shares so much, and he gives so much. He's shown so much dedication and commitment to building and growing our show, and we appreciate all of his tutorials, all of his guidance, all of his instructions, all of his
I'm sure you got plenty of those.
Thank you, Shory. So thank you, Shory. Thank you so much, and we hope you had a very Merry Christmas, and we hope you have a Happy New Year. And as we get better, Shory's job and his workload should get lighter, and we hope to have more innovation. So thank you for joining us here on Two of a Kind Sports, and once again, Merry Christmas.